Welcome back to Green Mountain Mornings on WKVT 100.3 FM and AM 1490. 57 degrees, 8:23 on the clock, and I have in the studio with me Wendy Levy from the Commons. Hello, Wendy.
Hey. Oh, we are live.
You are live.
I'm like, why does it look like my volume's potted down? I'm looking at the wrong level. I'm not used to sitting in this chair. I'm sitting in a different place so that BCTV could spy on me.
Yes, well, we must look beautiful for the cameras. Which is easy for us. So easy for us.
That's true, even though I woke up 25 minutes ago and just sort of threw this on. Hi, everybody. Yeah. Anyway, good morning, Olga. It's so nice to sit across the room from you yet again.
I know, it's been so long.
I know, I miss you.
I miss you too.
And here we are.
Yay! So, Wendy, let's start with, you have been going through some major health issues, which normally we wouldn't necessarily talk about something so private.
Right.
But
I don't care.
Because this is important.
Because this is really important.
Take it away, Wendy.
Thank you. This is a public service announcement. So I'll be really upfront. I have some chronic pain that I carry around with me, partly from genetics, partly from the abuse of being a cheesemonger for so long, and partly through being a person who's experienced trauma. Because when you experience trauma, and I'm not talking about like, I got into a car accident, but other kinds, you will get sometimes inexplicable pain. These are folks who show up oftentimes with fibromyalgia or just, afflictions that nobody can test and find out why. Mm-hmm. So I'm used to, being a little compromised physically. But a couple months ago, from my hips down, something changed really drastically. And I found that it was really hard to walk downstairs. Sometimes it was hard to walk upstairs. I was limping. It was really hard. And I thought, what's going on? Is this my new reality? And I'm only 43 years old. It really shouldn't be like this. Did I injure myself? What happened? Do I have rheumatoid arthritis? MS? What is going on here? So I went to the doctor, and he sent me for some x-rays on my knees and on my hips, and he also sent me for a blood draw. He's like, we're going to test for all the, the 4 major tick-borne illnesses. And I said to my doctor, I don't even go outside. I can't tell you the last time I took a hike. I mean, I go in my backyard to, look at my garden or just kind of, putz around, but I don't go on hikes.
You're not walking through tall grass.
Not if I can help it. I like to look at tall grass. I like the woods. I like the forest. I mean, I live in Vermont, but I look at it through my car window.
Quite happily.
Yeah, so that's so pretty. So I figured maybe this is just more of the trauma stuff and standing up too much when I was younger, things like that. So I came back and I said, my doctor is Dr. Moore. I said, so Dr. Moore, tell me, it's all in my head, right? And he just gives me this grave, he's shaking his head. No, he says, you have 2 tick-borne illnesses.
Oh, wow.
I have anaplasmosis, which is my new punk rock name.
That's a good one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then I have one that I had to learn to pronounce, which is Ehrlichia chaffiensis.
I have not heard of that one.
Me neither. And according to what I looked up on the CDC, this illness is prevalent in the Southwest and Southeast, maybe. I haven't even been there. I haven't been to the Southwest since 1998 or something.
Wow.
So who knows what's going on? And maybe the CDC isn't entirely up to date. Maybe I'm the vector monkey for this, You're
patient zero.
Yes. So the reason why I tell this tale is if it can happen to me, you all are doomed. Go get tested. Because I was explaining it away through all sorts of things. Oh, yeah. Like I said before, I have a lot of problems with my legs because of this, because of that, because of the other thing. It might not be that. Also, my insomnia got really bad this summer. And, this is a central nervous system. This can affect a lot of the different systems in a person's body. And I thought, oh, well, I have insomnia because, I used to have it when I was younger and under some stress this year. Maybe it's that. You can always explain it away. I've had other friends who are like, oh, I was really achy, but I slept somewhere else on a funny bed. And,
Right.
So just as a routine, like either now or next time you go for your annual physical or for no reason at all, go to your doctor and just ask for a blood test, the tick panel. Most of us are insured. If not, you can go to the free clinic, which according to a article in the Commons, moved.
They have a new site, yes.
They do. So you can go to the free clinic. Really, please get tested because this doesn't get better. It gets worse. And these illnesses are fatal in a very, very small percentage of the population, but we don't want it to be you.
Right.
So get tested.
Thank you, Wendy.
Sure.
Thank you. Just quickly before we go to the bottom of the hour news, any symptoms besides achiness that people might experience?
Yeah, sometimes people have like GI issues. They might be really nauseous. They may have no appetite. They may have things, coming out the other end unexpected, at great velocity.
Surprise, yes.
Yeah, all the GI things. Yeah, sometimes people will get a fever. Sometimes people will get a really intense splitting headache.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, those are the ones that I remember. And again, like those didn't really happen to me. I had a little bit of a stomach upset earlier this summer. I thought I ate something funny. That maybe that was the beginning of my symptoms. Maybe I got bitten this summer. That's the other thing. I don't remember ever getting bitten by a tick. Right.
And you didn't see any of those typical bullseye.
No rash, nothing. Yeah. And with anaplasmosis especially, which is endemic in this area, according to the CDC, a pretty low percentage of adults get the rash. It's not really part of it, the rash or the bullseye. So, yeah, it's really tricky. It can live in you and you just don't know it.
Well, thank you for that. So, yes, if you have any concerns, go to your healthcare practitioner and get tested. I remember when rock was young. Welcome back to Green Mountain Mornings on WKVT 100.3 FM and AM 1490. 58 degrees outside, 8:39 on the clock, and I am your host, Olga Peters. Welcome back to Wendy Levy from the Commons, and thank you so much for being a fellow chair dancer.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. I'll dance on a floor, too, but dancing in a chair, there's something really satisfying about that.
There is, especially when you're in your work day and you get an excuse to dance.
Yeah, I dance in my chair at work quite a bit. And when nobody else is in the newsroom, I sing, too. I try to keep it down when other people are there. I'm not very good.
Just so they're not like,
Although Randy and I sing a lot of songs together.
Does his lyrics only consist of meow, meow, meow?
Well, I think, it's funny. He does throw a meow in there. I think maybe when he doesn't remember the words. But generally, we do pretty good.
Randy speaks cat quite fluently.
It's true. It's really funny. And I sort of picked up on what the specific meow means, which I guess is what people do with their pet cats also.
Cats have specific meows.
Yeah.
I want out.
Yeah.
I want in. I want food, and I have a mouse. Those are the main.
Yeah, with Randy, it's like, oh, Joyce is on the phone, or all these different ones. So it's
Yep. And sometimes too, when you ask Randy, so this is Randy Holhut, the deputy editor of the Commons. Sometimes when you ask him a question, like, do you want me to cover A story or B story, A event or B event, you get a meow, and you have to. You have to suss out, was that the meow for A or B?
No. Could we have that in English, please, Randy?
Translate.
Yeah.
So, Wendy, tell me a little bit about, I know on this show we have talked about the municipal center and changes there and how the state's going to be renting some of the space, but you had a conversation with Elwell yesterday about that.
Yeah. Yesterday I spoke briefly with town manager Peter Elwell. because I'm just starting to cover this story. I heard about it at a recent select board meeting, and now I've gotten all the other articles out of the way that were more time sensitive that I had to do. And so now I'm like, oh yeah, now I got to get on this. So yeah, the not 10%, I'm still waking up. 10,000 square feet of the municipal center.
And she doesn't drink coffee, folks.
I do not. No. I'm a tea drinker. Yeah, not yet. When I get home. So yeah, the town is renting 10,000 square feet of the municipal center to the state. And I'm actually talking to the state, somebody in the Commission of Buildings, somebody in that department this morning, actually in a little over an hour. So, just to find out the details, what they hope to use that space for, where in the building it's going to be, what kind of things have to be done. But, it'll be a way for the town to maintain this resource and to have a steady renter. The state is a stable renter.
Yes.
This isn't somebody who's going to come in and be like, oh, never mind, I didn't really want to own a business. So here's your 10,000 square feet back.
Right.
Goodbye and good luck. So yeah, I think that will be, a good idea. And also the state already has, has spaces right near the municipal building. Right across the parking lot is the building where you go, for a lot of social services, like unemployment is there. And, if you need, 3 squares, EBT, the, food stamps, things
Yes.
like that.
Yep.
That's over there. And then right across the street is the courthouse. So to sort of have that little triangle there of state services will be really helpful. Mm-hmm. And, from what I understand, it is, and I have to confirm this, the state does rent a lot of property around town, a lot of offices.
Yeah.
And so, I just have to find out, are they going to move? Will this allow them to consolidate? So I have some questions, for the state folks today, but you can read about that. It'll probably be in next Wednesday's paper.
Wonderful. And yeah, we haven't heard yet, to my knowledge, what offices the state is or services the state's planning on putting in the municipal center.
Right. Yeah. And that's what I'd like to find out from them today. Because obviously Peter Elwell didn't know or didn't want to speak to that because that's not his department. But, this morning when I talk to the state, I'll find that out. So, who knows? Maybe they're moving new things in there. It could be something that we don't see elsewhere in their other spaces in town. But, it is really good for the town because the state is also kicking in some of the money for renovations because a lot needs to be done to that space, as you probably can attest to because you've been in that basement.
I have been in that basement and I survived.
I know. They let you back up.
Actually, Captain Mark Kerrigan dragged me out of the basement because I was starting to have an allergic reaction to the mold, and he was terrified.
Oh no.
That I would get sick.
Oh, yeah, he doesn't want that hanging on his conscience.
He didn't.
So. Yeah, so it'll be, it'll be a nice way for the town. The town will have to spend a little money because they have to, Brattleboro has to kick in some of the renovations, but the state is also making a capital investment. But this isn't going to happen tomorrow.
Right.
According to Peter Elwell, this is going to be a year or two out because they have to go to town meeting and get the funding to make those capital improvements approved. And then, they're still working out the details of the lease right now. So it is a little bit down the road. But, as soon as they sign that lease, there we are. There's the contract. So things are moving.
Thank you, Wendy. That's fantastic. Welcome. And I know we were talking about ticks earlier, but I noticed we're going back outside despite the ticks.
Oh boy.
To the Newfane Field Day.
Oh yeah, they did their farm and field day. They've done this 4 or 5 years in a row now. It's at Newbrook Elementary, which is right on Route 30 there. You've probably driven by it a million times. And their principal, Scotty Tobochnik, invited me to it a couple years ago. And then this year also I was able to go. So I guess it lasts about 2 hours and the entire school participates in it. And basically they're learning sometimes in great detail and mostly with hands-on things, activities where their food comes from.
Oh,
So,
fantastic.
excuse me. So sometimes they'll have, farmers, folks from like Grafton Village Cheese Company were there. Different parents will sort of do some of the stations. But this year, so at every station, there's kind of like a different thing. Like this year, the Retreat Petting Farm was there with some baby chicks that the kids could hold, which were really sweet.
Oh,
Yeah, those were really cute. And then there was someone from a farm where they did dairy. So they talked about, where does milk come from? Let's talk about cows. What kind of things do you make? And they made cheese. They made like a really simple kind of yogurt cheese and got to eat it. And that was really cute.
Oh,
And these are like, third graders and such, and little, first graders running around doing this. They talked about blueberries. Over at the Brattleboro Food Co-op sent a person with a couple of bins. I'm gonna sneeze. Can
Okay,
you
tight.
ad-lib for a minute?
I can totally I'm even going to shut off Wendy's mic so she can sneeze, and I will ad lib. And she's back. That was a quick sneeze.
Oh, thank you. Well, speaking of
Bless you.
being outside, thank you, in the fall, like let's have a hay fever response to talking about being in a field. So so the kids were with the woman from the Brattleboro Food Co-op, they were examining they have a vegetable of the month at Newbrook, which I think has to do with Food Connects. I think
Yes.
Food Connects helps out with that. And so the vegetable of the month was actually 2, and it was chard and kale. And so the woman, her name is Lizzie from the co-op, had them investigate the leaves of the chard and the kale, and they had magnifying glasses, to look really closely and talk about what they saw, and then they ate some of it. And so, with the vegetable of the month, they're also eating it in their lunches and in their snacks and stuff. So it,
Okay.
this association with, where does our food come from? It doesn't just happen once a year. They're doing this as part of their regular curriculum. But they also have an outdoor pizza oven.
No kidding.
Yes, behind Newbrook, that the kids and some of the staff and such built themselves maybe 4 years ago. And it's a clay, like sort of mound oven. If you've ever been to American Flatbread, it's kind of like that, but on a little bit of a smaller scale. So it looks like a little hill, except
Yeah.
it's hollow. And you put the pizza in there, and I think it's wood burning. And so all the kids were making their own pizza, and they had lots and lots of vegetables that they prepped so they could have these pizzas with, tons of vegetables on them. And I tried some because they made me as part of my investigative reporting. And
You have to know what you're reporting on.
it's
after all.
true. It's true. I had to verify, I had to confirm that these were really actually pizzas
With vegetables.
with vegetables and cheese and sauce. And they were really good because, yes, it is wood fired. That's right. Because there is nothing like a wood fired pizza. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Where I come from, we don't have that, and the pizza's still good. But like, you get that, that char. It's really good. So yeah, it was a really sweet event. Oh, also, Kristen Benoit from the Wyndham Solid Waste Management District was there. She's the the educational outreach person.
Yeah.
And she does this really cute event called the recycling relay or something, where she has 2 teams. They split up into 2 teams, and it's timed. And at the end of sort of the little race area, there's a big bin with like a bunch of garbage in it.
Oh, okay.
And every kid has to come and pick one thing and decide whether it goes in trash, recycling, or compost. And that's really cute because the kids are like scrambling and they're like, what's this? And she kind of helps them, because it's a learning experience. But, it's kind of funny seeing these kids racing back and forth and picking up like a crumpled piece of newspaper and trying to figure out where to put it. So, so it's also about sustainable practices too. But it's a really fun event. It's the second time that I've gone. It was a beautiful day when we went. It was a couple Fridays ago when it happened. And I think it's really a sweet thing. It's a fun thing, but it's also really informative for the little children.
Thank you, Wendy.
Sure.
And thank you to the folks at Newbrook who invited you so
I
you could have a
know.
great story to tell. we're just about out of time, but I was hoping you could very quickly touch on a story you're working on
Oh, yeah.
about adverse childhood experiences.
Yeah, so the state legislature is looking at what they call ACEs, adverse childhood experiences, different kinds of trauma, abuse, neglect, things like that, and how that affects a person as they become an adult. Because what they're finding through a lot of data is that folks who go through ACEs have a harder time as adults functioning, and it's making people sick. It's preventing them from you know, having stable families, of, being able to do okay in school, whether they're kids or college age, if they get that far. Folks who've had those experiences are more likely to have drug and alcohol problems or chronic unemployment and just chronic health problems because physiological things happen. This isn't just, oh, why don't they just get over it? I mean, there's things that are happening in their central nervous system
Right.
because they're in danger all the time
Your
at a young
body
age.
in a constant state of fight or flight,
Mhm.
it changes chemically
It absolutely
how your
does.
body responds to stress. Yeah.
Yeah, and so they're looking at ways to alter treatment because for a long time, people who had those experiences would get a lot of misdiagnoses and be put on a lot of psych meds that weren't helping them and were in fact harming them. And so they want to have trauma-informed treatment. They want teachers and other school administrators to be trauma-informed to understand, why is this kid acting out? Well, what's going on at home?
Right.
So I'm still learning about it myself. There was a hearing, a legislative public hearing to collect testimony here in Brattleboro, I guess about a month and a half ago. They usually do it in Montpelier, but they wanted to have a couple different locations just because it's hard for people to travel to Montpelier.
Yeah.
And there were folks there from schools and from some of the social service organizations talking about their experiences with dealing with children and adults who've experienced trauma, and that the need is really great for there to be, some knowledge around this and some state funding to make sure that, that all of us Vermonters are okay. So
Well,
that will be developing.
Thank you. So stay tuned to the Commons for Wendy's article on ACEs and adverse childhood experiences. Thank you so much, Wendy. We have to go.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here. I look forward to being here, I guess, in 2 weeks, right?
2 weeks, yeah. Yay!
Yay!